the root, our second one.
Yay.
Yay. Okay, let me share the screen here. Let's see. The root. Don't you love these pictures? These are
I
AI
do.
pictures. That was
Yeah,
like,
of course
it's
they
from my
are.
AI. I have a subscription to AI, so
Nice.
I was like, I told it what to do, and it did
Mm,
it.
it's pretty.
I know, isn't it? So it's interesting. I'm going to be teaching a class on the chakras starting like March 6th through that bear bridge. So it's interesting. Like this
Mm,
is we're ahead of it, but this is
mhm,
like root chakra, and then it's like a focus on the herbs where that's going to
mm,
be a different focus, but it's
mm,
still kind of the same thing repeated, which is interesting.
nice.
I know, I love that when that happens. So,
Mm,
Mūlādhāra, the root of existence. So, Mūla is root and Ādhāra is support, base, foundation. So, your foundational root, the root of existence. So, where is it? Okay, so this is a good, I think that this needs to be said because a lot of people say like the base of the spine, but that's not the place at all. I think a much more accurate thing that I've heard recently is the space between your two hip points when you sit down. The space
yeah,
like right in between those. So it's like your
yeah.
they call it your perineum. It's like just like whatever, just south of your anus.
Mm,
That little piece of skin that's just south of your anus, whatever
yeah.
sexual whatever chromosomal type you have, it doesn't matter. There's still that space, and
Yeah.
that's the actual space of
Mm,
your root chakra.
mhm.
So I think,
Yeah, I think like when I look at like a skeleton, it's that whole of like your pelvic area, like that pelvic bowl area.
yes,
That's
yeah.
how I see
Well,
it.
yes, definitely. That's definitely much closer to than to sit, but like to the base of the spine. I find that to be
Yeah.
largely inaccurate. First of all, it like anyways, it's just the base of my spine is like way off kilter. If I focus in on
Yeah.
that, there's trouble.
Yeah.
So, and then I've also heard that it's like that you could focus on like the shape of it is like a box and it like spins.
Mm,
So if you can, that's a way if you don't have that embodied practice, which I suggest. So this kind of starts the main seven chakras, and I'm kind of into this being a more embodied practice. The chakras where
mm,
I was thinking of things that aren't embodied necessarily, and
mhm.
like I mean, I'm going to show you some tinctures I made or whatever, or doing even spell work. It could be embodied in that you're using your energy, but this is completely in you.
Mm,
So, I mean, we're going to take energy and we're going to give and take energy in other places, but it's something you can feel even.
mm,
So it's something that you should be able to like even kind of ding and make um like the whole thing of it is that even like in tantric the idea of it is that this energy is the same energy that's used in tantric yoga and tantric sex, and the idea is that it's so powerful you should be able to feel it so much that you could cause orgasm in interacting just by your thoughts and the
mm,
energy that you're propelling back and forth between you. So
mhm,
this is should be felt inside you. So whatever gets you to that place where you can almost feel it and diagnose it and kind of have like where is it, what is it? You should be able to feel it when you key in at least.
mm,
So there's a couple of symbols that are in the root chakra. So and I have these things here. So there's this four-petal lotus that you'll see repeated over and over again. And the square in the circle, which is the earth encompassed um in the totality of all. So the earth is in the totality of all, and then the symbol inside it is law in the center, and then it's combined in the upper top with om, so it's lam is the sound. And then there's also this symbol. So there's like different kind of versions of it because this one is this is the downward triangle symbol that's involved, and people have said it represents the feminine, the yoni, whatever, you know, maybe the earth for certain. It's like earthy.
Mm.
Each petal in traditional iconography has one of the 4 last letters of the Sanskrit alphabet. So Mūlādhāra, I love that name for some reason. Mūlādhāra, correspondences. Okay, the element is earth. So they're supposed to, rights, the right to be, the right to have. Outer manifestation is solid. The glands are the adrenal glands. The body parts are the legs, the feet, the bones, the large intestine, and the teeth. And then body problems, when your root chakra is impinged upon or problematic, you would have weight problems, hemorrhoids, constipation, sciatica, degenerative arthritis, and knee troubles. And color, can you guess what color? Okay, so the sound is the LOM, like I said, or O, like in nope. O.
Mm.
The tarot is the pentacles it's associated with, of course, because it's super earthy.
Mm-hmm.
The planet is Saturn and Earth. The metal is lead. The foods are protein, meat, except for, you know what, that metal lead is kind of weird, and we'll talk about it why, because it's problematic to a lot of the folk who populate the forest areas. So
Mm.
food is protein, meat, red items, and root veggies. And the minerals, lodestone, ruby, garnet, and bloodstone. And the animal is the elephant, ox, or bull. So continued. Oh my gosh, this is so rad. Mūlādhāra. Okay, so the root chakra. So the goddesses it's associated with, this is the best one. So Lakshmi, this isn't even Lakshmi. This is a Dakini. Okay, if you don't know what a Dakini is, look it up, because they are so rad. They're these female they're spirits, and they're demonesses. They're considered demonesses, and but they're all feminine. So they're very, this was actually a nice version. There were some that they were bright red and they looked rather devilish. This is what AI came up with.
Nice.
I know, I'm like, Dakini. That's probably what they look like right before they slice your head off. They carve into your soul and take out your still beating heart, and that's why your hands sound like that.
Perfect.
So Uma or Parvati, Krishni, who is I believe Krishni is the earth goddess in India. I'm almost positive. Anyway, Gaia, Demeter, and Persephone, Erda, Ereshkigal, Anat, and Peridwin or Ceridwen, depending on. The force is gravity. The number is 4, obviously 4 petals, but it's so earthy. Like, I don't know. I just have a thing with 4 is such like, it's like the tables. It's like grounded. It's like a, make something stable. 4s make something like earthy, stable, and grounded.
Yeah.
Mantra is I am. The musical note is G. Oh, here, you know what? I meant to do this. I've got a lot of visual like cues here. I got a lot of visual things going on here too. So let's see. Let's see if I can do it. It's this. That's G. Right there.
I can't hear it at all.
Oh, let's see. Can you hear it now?
No.
Okay. Oh wait, let me stop sharing and then I'll like share the wait. Watch. Oh, it doesn't matter about share sound. Oh, because it doesn't. Oh, dang it. That's so weird that you're not hearing this.
Yeah, maybe it's just like my speakers or something.
I don't know. Let's see if I can. Let's see. Can't hear.
Oh, I heard it then.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay, so that's the G. According to John Hench, who who sourced out what notes these all were
Mm.
for me, which was nice. Okay. So let's see. Okay, so the characteristic of the self, and this is like a big deal that I'm kind of keyed into, is this idea of this highest self and this idea of like raising your vibration. And what people are talking about is this idea of raising your vibration is about getting to your highest self. And so the characteristics of the self that's connected with this, with Mūlādhāra, is, and let me get rid of this stupid thing because I can't see it, is connectedness. And so it is kind of almost that mushroom feeling of connectedness. It's like this idea that we root through and we are connected to other earthy beings, because you're connected in another place as well, but this is like your connection to other earth beings. So animals, plants, other people, things that are right here, right now on this earth, and the energy that we feel connected to as as this globe. So our collective and all that stuff, that good stuff. That's connectedness. So, okay. Mūlādhāra nutshell, right? So the basics for the root chakra, Mūlādhāra, are grounding and survival. Those are like the two prongs, because we're connecting to the earth and we're bringing grounding in every way, and then it's also hugely about our survival instinct. So what are those hierarchy of needs? What's that dude with an M?
Maslow.
Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's definitely that base. It's all about like our safety and basic needs of life. So physical root actions. I love these. Okay, so if your root is impinged or not, like, or something's like you're not feeling it, let's say you're not like, there's a couple things. If people don't feel these chakras inside them, there could be two things. Number one, some people have a problem feeling inside their body. They're not embodied. And I find that often happens when you've had trauma, sexual trauma, or physical abuse in your body. Sometimes either you can go one of two actions. You can either be super embodied, where you feel kind of everything, or you can be like unembodied, where it's really hard to feel things inside you that way. So have no fear. It is still available to you. And I suggest you connect to your body through the characteristic of the self. So you could do that either way. So you can either connect to your root chakra through this idea of connectedness with other people, or you can connect with other people, like I'm suggesting with these people, and let that connection with an animal, a pet, a plant, be an inroad to feeling embodied in your root chakra. So, but you could also do these things. So Tadasana is mountain pose. Sukhasana is crisscross applesauce pose. Uttanasana, the forward bend. Malasana, and I thought I was going to get up and do Malasana for you. I might do it. Let's see if I can do it on this little squatty thing that I'm here. Let's see if you can see. It's this one where you're like this, like this. That's Malasana, like that. Oh, I did it. I'm on a little ledge. Warrior two, tree pose, and Savasana, corpse pose. But there's more. There's other movements that we can get this energy flowing. So you can have a mountain pose and then swing at your torso, letting your arms move freely. Another one is you can start in Tadasana and you can put your hands on your hips and bend your knees a little bit. And when you breathe in, move your torso back. So you breathe. And then when you breathe out, move, like thrust it forward. Okay, so that's another one movement is to, as you move your arms to shoulder height, imagine roots moving from the earth up into you. Stand on your tippy toes, and then as you bend your knees, forcefully push your heels into the ground. I did that a couple times. It was very grounding.
Mm.
It was very rooting. And even more so if it's outside. If you can
Mm.
go outside and do this on the dirt or on the lawn, all the better. Stamping, kicking, jumping up and down, eating, even sleeping is a root chakra activity. So then let's move to the first one, Oakmoss. Yay.
Mm.
I love it so much. I swear, I did not think I could love an herb that I didn't know again. I swear, it's like, it must be like when you have a child, like you don't think you could love the next child. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I love you so much. Oakmoss, Evernia prunastri. Okay. That's what it looks like. And it's like, I love that beautiful sweet green, that like light green. It's so pretty.
Mm. Mhm.
Oakmoss is rad. Let's see how rad. So the plant info. So it's a lichen. So that's a cross between a fungus and an algae or an alga. And it grows on oaks, of course, oak moss. Oak. Okay, so there's this whole thing with Oakmoss being IFRA compliant. Okay, and people, so in Europe, in the European Union, I don't think it's a thing in America, but in the
Mm.
European Union, they've identified that oak moss has irritants, which it does,
Mm.
and that it can cause allergies. And so they have made it so they've taken out, we've got 10 minutes. We've got that it, so they've taken out this constituent that causes the allergies, and then when they do that, it's not this beautiful green anymore. It's like a brown, and it's like
Mm.
apparently it loses something because there's a lot of people trying to like work their way around and say, and when I was looking on it, there's a lot of people trying to peddle the non-compliant oak
Mm.
moss. So maybe there's, I don't know if there's a smell. I think there is. I think it doesn't smell as nice even, and that's the whole
Mm.
point. Like for a lot of people, is that it is entrancing, the smell.
It's so yeah, I think I talked about it when we met last week, but it's like one of my favorite smells. It
Yeah.
smells so good.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
So also something you didn't know, and this is so rad, is that it can be a dye, and it has a potential of either being a bright yellow dye or a vibrant pink dye.
Mm.
Okay, crazy. Okay, so if you just boil it, it's yellow. Okay.
Mm.
But for a bright pink, you have to do this ammonia fermentation.
Mm.
So you take a jar and you fill it up 3/4 of the way with the oak moss, or 3/4 of the way with the oak
Ammonia.
moss, and then you
Mm.
only want the jar ever filled 3/4 of the way. So you put
Mm.
the oak moss in the jar, and then you pour a solution of 1 part ammonia to 2 parts water, and then you let it ferment for 3 months. 3 moon cycles, my favorite.
Mm.
Shake it every day. I love it. It's like a tincture of an ammonia tincture. But and it will become bright pink. Okay, so then you can even dump all that dye out and put more of the ammonia in and do it again and get more out of it. And you can do that maybe
Mm.
3 times.
Mm.
So they say though that it doesn't need a mordant, but it may have to even out in because it's UV sensitive. It can change colors in UV light. So
Mm.
it is edible, but it has so much acid in it that the only way is like if you treat it like interestingly enough, like acorns, like you've got to boil it repeatedly to get the I think it's tannins, but to get the
Mm.
acid, it's acid. If you don't, it's like people died from it, and it's supposed to be the most horrendous death ever. It's like hurts
Okay.
because it's like burning your stomach from the inside out. It's like filled with these horrible acids. It's the worst. Do
Mm.
not do it. Nay. So, but I guess once you do all that, there's a leavening agent on it that is, you can make bread with it because it'll make bread rise, and it can be used as a substitute for hops in beer.
Mm.
So the other names for it, Evernia, of course, Evernie, lichen moss or lichen moss, and I don't even know how to say these, so I'm going to embarrass myself.
Mm.
Dechen, Musco de Roble. I don't know what that Roble. I listen. I
Yeah.
never took French. I took Spanish. So
Yeah.
Musco de Roble is like what I see.
Mm.
Okay, and then tree moss. So nothing too terribly exciting. And that was horrendous. That was just embarrassing.
Uh,
One thing I'm not is a scholar of languages.
yeah.
So oak moss correspondences. So let's look. It's obviously its element is the earth. So the planet can either go with oak and be Jupiter, or go. Most lichens are Saturn based.
Mm.
An astrological sign is Capricorn. Seemed to make a lot of sense.
Hmm.
Chakra is the root chakra, and the goddesses are Mother Earth, Gaia, Ein. Is that how you say it?
I don't know. Never heard that one.
Ein. It's yeah. The Fae. So that's why it's weird that lead, right?
Yeah.
Why would it be lead? You can't have
Yeah.
lead and have the Fae be in there. All forest
Mm.
goddesses, Artemis, Demeter, and then moss people.
Mm.
So just wait for it, because there might, wow, whoa. Okay, so lore, stories, and cultural import. So first of all, we're going to go to England, and oak moss was added to rose petals and then orris root,
Mm.
which is iris. And it was ground together to produce a powder to scent wigs during the time of Queen Elizabeth in England.
Mm.
Okay, also in Egypt, a lot of Egyptian herbs, lots. Bless you, my child. Bless you, my child.
Ooh, thank you.
I'm not even gonna make the
Oh.
cross. I was like, oh, what? How would I do that? Oh, I'll do it. I'll do this. I'll do the sign of this is my new one. I've got it. I'm doing the women's sign. So I make the circle.
Nice. Oh.
Oh, that's my blessing.
Perfect.
Okay. Egypt. Lots of Egyptian stuff. This is really cool though. So oak moss was used for embalming the dead. So oak moss, myrrh, and pine resin were packed into the crevices of the mummies.
Mm.
Legend says that it allowed the deceased to attain eternity faster. And then the stories of this Chypre. This is so. Do you know about Chypre?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, so it's a fancy word for Cyprus. And in the 12th century, Crusaders brought back this perfume from Cyprus to Europe, and it became really famous at that time, like in the 12th century.
Mm.
Okay. And
That's
then,
about the extent of my knowledge.
okay, so then in the early 1900s, Francois, I do know that says Francois. Francois Cody gets totally obsessed with Chypre, and
Mm.
he creates Les Chypre in 1917, and using all like the original cypress plants and the smells, and it is a huge hit, right?
Mm.
So this is his recipe that he uses. But the base note is oak moss, labdanum, and bergamot. So, but oak moss was the main base, and it's
Mm.
spiced up with patchouli and clary sage. And then the heart of the perfume are flowers like rose and jasmine. The top notes are the bergamot and others. So
Mm.
then Jacques Guerlain, who's my Guerlain or whatever, and he does my favorite perfume. The only perfume I ever wear in my whole life
Mm.
was just Shalimar. I've totally given up on other perfumes. I enjoy Shalimar way too much. He made this perfume that you've seen in the background there called Mitsuko, because he took this Chypre perfume and he added peach and iris to it. And that's
Mm.
what Mitsuko is. And Mitsuko is a really spicy oriental kind of smell.
Mm.
It's interesting. It's super interesting.
Mm.
Now, the moss people. This is the best stories. So the Moosleute, the moss folk. Okay, they're a fascinating class of German little beings, and they're deeply entwined with forest lore. So they're also called wood or forest folk, and they're like forest people that are in the forest. So dwarfs, elves, sprites, spirits, all these stuff. But these have a super profound connection with the trees, especially. Even though they're associated with the forest and the spirits and in some tales even nightmares about it, they
Mm,
are the embodiment of the forest, and their whole life is bound to trees themselves, and they will be destroyed if the trees that they're connected to are harmed.
mm,
So then how do they interact with humans? Well, they're marked by a blend of benevolence and caution. So they borrow items, but then they always give really good compensation for allowing the items to be used to be borrowed from humans.
mhm,
And or they give really good healing advice. Yet they can also be very easily offended. So don't offend the Moosleute.
mhm,
Don't- Their narratives also entwined with the wild hunt mythology.
mm.
So magical properties.
Mhm.
Earth ceremonies.